What's going on, everybody? It's Kyle Figley. I'm here at New York Comic Con 2018. I'm just surprising them on it. They're just getting ready. No, we're here with the creators of Alita: Battle Angel, which is coming out soon. And guys, I got to tell you, I'm gonna make myself feel like either really young to some people in the audience or really old to some people watching this. But like, I read the manga for the first time 20 years ago when I was in high school.
Yes.
And it's so funny because for years we've been watching the talk of, is this going to get made? Is this going to happen, right? And it's like, oh, James Cameron, he's going to make a Battle Angel movie. And then people will be like, bullshit, you can't make that. That can't be made into a movie, you know? I mean, it was this long process. I wanted to start the conversation with you guys telling me a little bit about why do you think that this is a movie for now? Like, I know it took so long to make it practically, but what makes this a movie for 2018, 2019?
First of all, I really believe that 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we could not have done the movie. We could not have done it to bring as compelling and emotive character as Rosa gave us in her performance onto the big screen. Now, the why now, since you've read this way back when, you know that it is so timely.
Yeah.
Alita's story, it is, whether it's Me Too or whether it is about the world and being able to make a change and not live under the oppression of authoritarian government and all of those things. These themes are so relevant in the world, but none more so than the relationship that Alita develops with Ito, her father, and with Hugo, a boy in the streets who comes to see people that he thought of as second-class citizens, to find out that's what he falls in love with. These are universal and timely themes.
And as a woman, and as a human person, I can relate to feeling. I think we can all relate to feeling insignificant and like we are powerless to make any kind of difference. We see monsters on our television all day, every day, and a lot of us feel like, oh, if I only had if I could only, get them all out of here, if I could only make a change, and it's cathartic to watch this character feel so insignificant and then go on this journey and empower herself and become someone who can make a change, who can, oust the world of monsters or at least give it her best effort. So I think it's very inspirational and aspirational.
Robert, as you came into this, I mean, obviously Jim Cameron did a lot of work over the years on this, but I know that one thing that's so different in terms of the comics of it all is with American comics and to either be something like Sin City or some of the superhero stuff, when those get translated to film, the images are singular, iconic. They are, like here is an image of a person standing there. In manga in particular, but in Battle Angel, specifically, like, it's moving. It's going all the time. It's not the same as like, okay, I can pin these up and build a storyboard out of it.
Right.
It's just lines of speed all the time. I mean, was that part of the challenge, was how can I take this thing and make it feel on film like it actually does on paper?
Absolutely. I mean, I love interpreting drawings. I started as a cartoonist. That's why Frank Miller and I got along so great. I love just taking his images and figuring out how do you bring that to life and be very true to that. My first exposure to Alita was actually not the manga. I read his script first and saw his art. So I saw Jim's version of it before I went and looked back at the comic. I knew he was always going to develop it, which is why I never looked at it on purpose because I didn't want to spoil whatever movie he made. But I didn't realize it was going to take so long to make. So I went and looked at it and I saw, oh, wow, I really do want to capture, because Jim's very true to the artist as well. I want to capture, like he used lines to convey speed, but I know what that means. I want that image, but it's speed. And so people who are fans of the graphic novel will totally see how faithful it is, and yet how it's definitely a movie story that could be told in a film. And Jim added a lot of nuance and character to it that just made it feel like a worldwide movie. It's an exciting mix of the two, where I was just super faithful to the comic in Sin City. This is really taking the spirit of it and expanding it into something that all audiences can see.
One word that I think we hear so much in motion pictures, movies, Hollywood, etc. these days is global, right? Like that is the thing from a business perspective, from an audience perspective. Filmmakers are trying to make films that can reach all across the globe. Obviously, this is an East meets West. I don't know how to say that.
East meets West.
Thank you.
Meets West.
Eats, meets, and treats. No, yes. It's two halves of the globe kind of in conversation is what this movie is in some ways. Tell me a little bit about, practically, as you guys were filming, what the conversation was like amongst all of you, because we're going to be seeing a lot of CG, a lot of stuff, but I know that you guys were there together making this thing. I mean, were you thinking about how is this going to play to people in America and people in Japan and people in South Africa or wherever?
Well, look, it starts with, as you know, the story that Koshiro wrote. He wrote a story, and I don't use the term global. I use the term universal. And we're not making a movie to be global. We're making a movie to have universal themes and connect with people. And that was inherent in the story. Robert and Jim, together with Lita, ended up with a script where we were able to draw incredible talents. These two, Christoph Waltz, Mahershala Ali, Jennifer Connelly,
Ed
Jackie
Skrein.
O'Haley, Ed Skrein, Academy Award winners, because of the strength of the material that is there and the themes of the material. Then, together with Weta Digital, the design teams at Troublemaker Studios and Lightstorm and Robert's vision, we're putting up an image visually that is also universal. It's a fictional place that is a melting pot for all societies. We're not sitting there and saying it takes place in Tokyo of the future. We're not saying it takes place in a New York of the future. It's a new place called Iron City. All languages are spoken there. People from all walks of life live there. And that's, to me, what makes it universal.
Amen.
So tell me from the acting experience, you guys. I mean, you guys are representing Young Love here, which is a story that is as old as time, but is hard to get to reinvent. I think in some ways that's a really difficult thing to make in that a new way. As you guys were talking about your characters and getting ready for performance and performing, did you talk about how you hope this is absorbed by young people? Did you talk about, even in terms of like, I hope people are dressing up in costumes as us and I get to see that happening? I mean, what was that like?
Not really. I think we weren't reinventing it. Falling in love is something that doesn't need to be reinvented. It's so incredibly potent, and you don't ask for it. It just happens. And so it happened very organically for us in person as well. I remember I tested with a few gentlemen, and when Robert told me that it was Kian, he was like, just watch when he walks into the airplane hangar and into the studio in Austin, it's gonna turn on. It's gonna. And I was like, really? He's like, oh yeah, remember this talk? And then I we were working our first day, and I didn't know Kian was gonna show up that day, and he walked in, and I just ran at him. Do you remember this? I ran at him, and I'm like, and I and I hugged him so hard, and I was like, this is going to be beautiful. This is going to work. And on screen, when we shot that scene, I feel like it's, for Alita and Hugo, it's all about that very first second. Where they see each other, where they look at each other, and it's all right there.
Well, we just had such a great script to play with, not only the words but like the looks that were written. Moments where I walk away and she catches me as I go, and moments where she turns around and then I see her. It's just those little moments that it develops just in these like small silent looks, and us kind of just seeing each other, and then the lines just come secondary. And I think it wasn't much about I wonder if people will dress up as us at Comic-Con or anything like that. It was just like this script was it wasn't I don't look at it as like the Comic-Con script. It's just such like, as far as just like an action brilliant film, there's also like these really great just film scenes of people just talking and being real and emoting real feelings.
Yeah, it was less about will they dress up as us, and more like, can we break their hearts into 5 million pieces?
These two pulled off a scene where Kian was referring to it when they first meet. And he looks at her, and she looks at him, and you immediately see a connection. And then he realizes that she's something that in his life he disdains, which is a cyborg. And he lifts her up and he goes, oh my God, you're a cyborg. And he's surprised by that. And that is so much of the story of the characters, that discovery that, if I didn't know you were a cyborg, I'm not going to think of you as a cyborg. I'm going to learn to discover you as a person. And again, that goes back to those universal themes.
Right.
Well, I think Robert will probably back me up on this, but I think when the movie's out and the people are in costume, you're going to discover how weird and intense it's going to be to be in a movie like this.
Cosplaying, and it's been awesome.
Cosplay in his outfit and hers, and it's startling. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, it's startling for you because Hugo wears your exact wardrobe. So it's more like they're just dressing.
I was going to say, I saw someone here in cosplay as Robert. The hat, the black shirt, the jeans. So.
Robert has a cartoon closet. You know how Homer has like a white shirt and blue pants.
Yeah.
Black shirt.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks
No.
so much for being here, guys. We're going to have more from New York Comic Con
Geniuses do that.
2018 later on CBR.